Hello everyone, this is Larry here from Summit Imaging. I have Mike Busdicker with us today.
Larry, thank you. I'm Mike Busdicker with Intermountain Healthcare, the System Director of Clinical Engineering here at our organization.
So Mike's been doing a few videos with us to really bring his expertise and intelligence to share with the community because he's been doing this for quite a long time, right?
35 years now.
Yeah, so you've seen the ebbs and the flows and the transitions in the market, and today I want to talk about a very critical topic, and that topic is in our market space right now. There's a lot of contention, a lot of confusion on what the future regulation may look like for HTM and maybe independent suppliers like Summit or whatever have you, the whole market. But I think what we wanted to chat about today was that as we embark on those conversations, let's not forget that there's already regulations in place for quality. And Mike, if you could tell us what you're looking at to run your program to ensure that you're compliant and that you're delivering the best quality for the patient every single time.
Absolutely. And so, as you mentioned, it is a high-profile topic throughout the entire industry, and we talk about service of medical equipment. Specifically, there's a real push right now on the imaging side for quality standards or service standard on the imaging equipment. So as I look at that, as I participate with a number of groups in that discussion, I would like to point out, as you stated, there are a number of regulatory requirements and standards out there right now when it comes to the manufacturing and implementation of medical equipment or equipment across the entire spectrum, whether that be through the FDA or CMS. There are a number of standards out there and guidelines as well through AAMI and other organizations. But does that mean that we don't need to enhance some of the service standard when it comes to servicing the equipment? I don't think so. I think we do need to make sure that we're providing quality service that's going to protect our patients and our caregivers within our facilities.
And I think that's the key piece here. And Mike and I have had a lot of conversation about this particular piece, is that the key word in that entire phrase was patient, right? We're focusing on patient. How do we protect the patient? How do we give the best care instead of chasing a random PM list that may not have any sort of impact to that? An example that I heard at a meeting that we just attended to was a fairly low value piece of equipment that had a PM checklist that was literally 50 activities. But more importantly, one of those activities was for the service engineer to perform a soak test. And what the soak test was defined as was literally staring at the piece of equipment for 2 hours to see if it fails. And that seems unreasonable because if you look at, there's an install base of 1,500 of these items, you just run it to fail at that point. And where is that? I think we need to work together on what's that balance to ensure that that soak test isn't going to necessarily catch the failure at that point in time.
And I think when you look at that, when we talk about the patient and doing what's best for the patient, the quality and safety is absolutely at the top of the list. But we also we need to look at the entire spectrum. And that includes ensuring that we're not driving cost of healthcare up. Because if we do that, the patient loses in the end again.
Yes.
And we can't do that to our patients as well. So we got to look at the entire spectrum. So not just the quality and safety, but the most efficient and cost-effective method of doing that as well. So there's a place for all of us in the market, as I've stated before. We've got a place for all of us in the market, but we need to start working together as an industry to do what's best for healthcare. A win-win for our organizations, for our patients, and for those that are involved in the entire process. So we do need to enhance our service standards, I think, and that could include things like service training, parts supply, service providers, whether that's the manufacturer, ISOs, third-party, in-house programs. but we need to do that in a way that's not going to
Yeah.
drive up cost of healthcare and impact our patients on
Yeah.
the quality and safety side as well.
Yeah, and how we relate to that is, as we put together the products and services for our healthcare facility customers, is, for Summit Imaging, we are an ultrasound equipment and mammography equipment support organization. And let's just use ultrasound transducers as an example because that's what we know really well. And there's this misconception that there's no regulation around transducer repair. There absolutely is. Please check out the comments below. We're going to post a link there exactly to the regulation that's on the FDA website. But on there, it says any modification to the device, which includes crystals that are being remanufactured. They're also called clone arrays. But now, as we roll out the FDA regulation and looking at it, reading it's that those aren't the right terms. It's actually counterfeit because nobody knows it's in there. But number two, the specifications are unknown to any crystal remanufacturer, and I use that term loosely, to actually put it back to its original OEM, form, fit, and function. So now when we're looking at that, it requires a pre-510K notification, and then a 510K to use it. We're not saying that you can't use them, but you can't use them until it's been cleared because the specifications of the OEMs are unavailable.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of that homework, that due diligence that suppliers like us, we must do to be responsible and to execute and comply with current regulations that have been there for a long time.
And I think that's a great example and a great point where we don't need to be reinventing the wheel.
Yes.
Let's use the standards and the guidelines and the regulations that are currently in place, and then develop a service standard around those
Exactly.
that are not in place.
Correct. And let's not accept that there is no regulation. There absolutely is.
Yes.
So, I think you referenced CMS, you referenced FDA, and you referenced AMI. We're going to take all those links. We're going to put them in the comments for you to use, and please share it around because that's really great information just to make sure that, we are, not reinventing the wheel. Can it use some enhancements? No question.
Right.
But at the same time, we don't need to rebuild something that's already there. So if we just do some light due diligence and some light homework, that it is there. And we recommend that healthcare facilities take the time to do that due diligence on the suppliers to make sure that they are compliant with all the regulations in place.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, thanks. Hot topic right now. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. And again, all the resources that we mentioned are right in the comments below. So thanks for watching. All right. Bye.
Thanks, Larry.